available on the website in about an hour. I'm working on that right now. And for most of y'all know, never believed in waist trainers, but I have a good reason why I'm adding them to my repertoire. And I did a post previously about diastasis recti and the importance of keeping your abdominal wall tight and your transverse abdominis tight. And that is exactly why I decided to put waist trainers on my website. And for people who are not aware, diastasis recti can affect women as well as men, but it mostly affects women. And this is usually postpartum. Diastasis recti is the separation of the abdominal wall after pregnancy, and that's due to stress. You have your rectus abdominis, which is down the middle, your transverse abdominis, which comes through the back and through here. That's your suck-in muscle. So like when you suck in your stomach, that's the muscle that you're typically using, and then of course your obliques. Now, when you're doing exercises, and the reason why I decided to put the waist trainers on my website and things like that is because when you're doing exercise, we normally have a tendency to purse and outwards instead of holding our abdominal wall in tight. We have a tendency to purse outward when we are doing exercise. So when you squat, instead of keeping it tight and coming down like this, a lot of us push outwards. When you're doing crunches, push outwards, all of those things. And you want to, while you're doing your training, wear your waist trainer to keep the abdominal wall tight and close in to your pelvic floor. Okay? So these are available on the website within the next hour. Right now. And these are my favorite ones because there's a lot of waist trainers out there, but a lot of people have the waist trainers that are more like the corset type. And that's not the ones that you want to get. The corset types, they got all these buttons and snaps and zippers and all this other stuff like that. Those are not good for you to work out in because what they do is restrict your diaphragm. And anything restricting your diaphragm is going to restrict your breathing while working out. And if you're restricting your breathing, well, that's just not a good way to work out. So anyway, I'm back. So you don't want to restrict your breathing while working out. This right here gives you, like, so if you're button and snap, then you can't loosen it, you can't control where it's hitting you or whatever on your body or whatever. Hello, hi. Where it's contracting or where it's tightening your body. So with this, it's adjustable, of course. So, and it's still really tight. So you take it right there, pull it across here. When I'm working out, I don't pull it quite as tight, but I just pull it tight enough that it's keeping my abdominal cavity firm. And then you secure it right here. Right here. Of course, it's got the Fitness University logo right there. FU. That's the FU to fat. It's not FU to you, it's FU to fat, Fitness University. Okay, so what we're going to do first is for people who don't know if they have diastasis recti. This is for my female followers and everything like that. And when men get it, it's usually due to an imbalance in your abdominal cavity. So maybe you have really tight obliques, but your rectus abdominis is not as tight, or maybe your transverse abdominis is not as tight, because that's harder to reach because it comes wrapped from the back and underneath. That's your real core right there. So lower back training and leg lifts and things like that. And if you're not doing those things, and if you're not doing that, you're going to have a weakened transverse abdominis. And if you do, then you may develop diastasis recti. And all diastasis recti is you have your transverse abdominis here. So transverse abdominis is like your six-pack abs right here, the ones that come straight down, and I have diastasis recti. And I'll show you how to know if you have diastasis recti too. There's a test to do to know if you do have it. And if anybody ever noticed, I have like tight abs, like a nice tight little 4-pack on top, but down here like a little pooch or whatever right here. And that's very, very common in a lot of my females, you know, especially us who've had babies. I have a daughter as well, for those who don't know. I do have a child. And so all it is you have the muscles that come down here, 6-pack, 8-pack, whatever you have, but down the middle of it is connective tissue right there. And what happens is that there's a separation in the connective tissue due to the stress during pregnancy. And when that happens, it can lead to a protrusion through bad diet, body fat, protrusion from the separation of the abdominal wall, and also you can also develop a hernia. So for those who have known me through my bodybuilding career, I also have an umbilical hernia as well, and I have not gotten it fixed. I've had it for probably 2 or 3 years. And I'm pretty sure it came from deadlifting and squatting super heavy. My deadlift max is 415, my squat max is 405. So back when I was lifting and training for competitions and things like that, I was just a crazy person. I was a mad lady, so I was just, you know, lifting heavy, going crazy, and all that stuff like that. And I didn't really care about my body at that time. I just wanted to like hit my PR, hit my PR, hit my PR, and that's all I cared about. And so that has affected my body, and I do now have an umbilical hernia, which is possibly 1 due to strenuous lifting, but 2 also due to the fact that I've had diastasis recti for years and never decided to. I didn't really know because I wasn't into fitness previously to me. I didn't get into fitness until I was or weightlifting until I was 29. So I didn't really know that I had this issue. You know, when you're slim and trim, you don't really notice it until your body starts getting like, you know, you start putting on fat and your body starts to change, and then you notice that you have different issues. And that's when I started to notice the separation in my abdominal wall. And then, of course, I developed a hernia. So, hold on, let me, okay, so, diastasis recti. If you have diastasis recti, there is a test to tell if that you have it or whatever. So what you're going to have to do is lay down. What you have to do is lay down. So what you're going to do is the finger test. Lay down flat. Right here. Now what you do, you get the test in 3 different places. Above the navel, below, right below the navel, and then 3 inches below, 3 inches below that. What you want to do is put your finger between your abdominals, your rectus abdominis, and see if you have a gap. If you have more than a 2-finger gap between your rectus abdominis, that means you have diastasis recti, 2 to 2.5 finger gap between your abdominals. So for my ladies or my fellas even so too, who are, you know, muscle kings and who work out all the time and all that stuff like that, but you may be developing your obliques or maybe your rectus abdominis or maybe your transverse abdominis with your obliques, but not as much the other way. This is the way to test and tell. So you lay down flat, and in those 3 areas. Now they may be different in those different areas. So for me, above my umbilical, my belly button, my umbilical area, it's tight. I don't have a separation there. It's pretty tight. Below, I have maybe a 1-finger gap right below my umbilical area. Now when I go down, there's a 2-finger gap in my rectus abdominis in my lower umbilical area right there. And that directly contributes to the little, what I like to call pupa, that I have a tendency to get when I do gain weight. When I'm lean and tight and everything like that, it's not a problem. I can't see it. But I do notice when I do put on a little bit of body weight and stuff like that, right now I'm at 175 pounds, I'm 5'4". I do have this little fupa area and I hate it. It drives me crazy, but so instead of being tight right here, there's nothing I can do about this right here. It's just there, okay? Now, in addition to the waist trainers that I'm about to put you on so that you can wear them in the gym and wear them at the house, and they're adjustable and they're not going to suffocate you or give you problems that a corset's going to give you. And so these are basically convertible. You can wear them to the gym and you can wear them around the house at home. I wear mine at home as well to keep my lower abdominals tight. Just make sure you position it in the right area. So don't have it way up here under your boobs and stuff like that where your ribs are, because there's no abdominal area there. You need to position it a little bit lower. But I position mine lower and make sure my straps are lower so that it can cinch in the area that I'm more concerned about. And so, anywho, there are exercises, do's and don'ts that you want to do that will help to heal that area for you. And these things take time. You know, it takes me 9 months to carry a baby and all that time to separate your abdominals and all that stuff like that. So don't think that healing is going to take overnight. But the situation will be a lot better if you're holding in while you're training, keeping your abdominal wall tight while you're training, okay? You don't want to train your abdominal wall to purse outwards while you're squatting or while you're deadlifting or anything like that. Just breathing out and just doing your abdominal exercises and stuff like that, okay? You don't want that to happen, so you want to keep the abdominal wall tight. So some people are like, why do you have on your waist trainer while you're squatting and stuff like that? Because naturally when you're squatting, you're not paying attention to your abdominal wall. You're just, you're breathing out on your way down. You're breathing out. And when you breathe out, everything just purses that way. You know what I'm saying? So the first thing that you want to do, so we've already done the abdominal test so you can tell if you have diastasis recti or anything like that. So the first thing that you want to avoid is crunches. The crunches and sit-ups. Those are the worst things that you can do if you have diastasis recti, because that directly puts pressure on the rectus abdominis right here in the middle, and you don't want to do that. So what you want to do is hollowing exercises or exercises to keep your abdominal wall, the transverse abdominis, tight. And for a lot of people, these will look like, oh, that doesn't look hard or anything like that, but you have to do these exercises in order to keep the abdominal wall nice and tight. So they're called dead bugs. Now when you do these, well, first exercise is a breathing exercise, and it keeps the abdominal wall tight. So when most of us, so if you ask somebody to suck in, they just suck in. Now that's sucking in your diaphragm and all that stuff like that, but you want to suck in from your pelvic floor, from down here. So first thing you want to do is let all your breath out. Let all your breath out. And then suck in, not only from your diaphragm, but your abdominal floor, from your pelvic floor, right here. Alright? So you want to work your way up to 10, 15, 20 seconds and be able to breathe through the exercise. So what you do, let all your air out, hold for 5 seconds. And you're still keeping your abdominal wall tight as you breathe through it for 5 seconds. Then release. And do it all over again. suck it in and do the same thing. 5 seconds. You want to work your way up to 15, 20 seconds, but being able to breathe, not holding your breath, but being able to breathe through the exercise. Okay, so instead of crunches, we can try something like a dead bug. You're doing the same situation. You're breathing all your out, suck it in your pelvic floor, your legs up. So majority of the exercises that you're going to do if you have diastasis recti, involve the legs being up. Instead of your upper body core being up and pursing that stomach out, you're going to want the legs up. So leg lifts, things like that. Hanging leg raises, things that you'll see me doing on my Instagram videos and stuff like that. Same with dead bugs. Leg up, let your air out, suck your pelvic floor in. Okay? Exercises like that. It's called a dead bug. So the same exercise we did the first time, letting all your breath out, sucking all your air in, breathing through the movement, and just breathing. That's what you want to do to keep your abdominal wall tight. In addition, next, instead of the crunches, you want to do the dead bugs instead. So, another exercise that you want to avoid, which is a surprise because it's also a stability exercise, but it is the plank. This right here. You want to avoid these planks because that's doing exactly the opposite of what you're intending. So yes, a plank is a core stability exercise, but what it's doing is bringing all your organs, all the pressure to the rectus abdominis and pressing it right on that area, the area of connective tissue and ligaments or whatever right here that's right up the middle. That separation area, you don't want to separate more by putting pressure on that area. So other things that help with that is also doing your Kegels, exercises like that. And we all know the Kegels not only keep your pelvic floor, vagina, all that good stuff tight, but it also tightens the abdominal wall, the lower abdominal wall. I like to get mine, hold mine, and release. Hold, and that keeps that thing tight, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So it helps in other areas too, okay? Another exercise that's great for those suffering with diastasis recti is hanging leg raises. You see me do these on some of my videos. And because there's so few exercises that really work for women suffering from diastasis recti, there is only so few exercises that I can do. So, so when I'm doing mine at home on my home gym, I actually leave my bar in place right here. The bar stops me. I mean, if you have good balancing, which I do, but it stops me from swinging back and forth and all that stuff like that. So I leave my bar actually here in place. It's actually low from another exercise I was doing. But I leave my bar and let it hit me right there in the midsection to keep me from swinging back and forth. bicycle and do those. So there's different variations of the same exercise that you can do. Straight leg hanging raises, bent knee hang raises, bicycle hanging leg raises, any of those things right there. But tonight the weight trainers will be going live. This is my favorite weight trainer. If people have seen me wear it previously on my page, people ask me about it all the time. And just because of this situation with waist trainers, like, I did a video previously talking about how waist trainers do not work. And that's because the reason why I put the information out there like that is because a lot of people think that waist trainers are just going to magically get rid of your fat. And that's why I didn't promote waist trainers before. Taking something like this and wrapping it around your waist, how the fuck is that going to get rid of your fat? Does that make any fucking sense? It makes no sense whatsoever, and that's why I had such a problem with promoting waist trainers. But then people would look on my page and say, well, I see you wearing a waist trainer, Nate, so it must do something. And it does. They have their purpose, but it's not for getting rid and it's not for getting rid of fat. Waist trainers it's not going to magically suck away fat. Those sweat bands that people wear around their waist, that's not going to get rid of fat. That's going to help you to lose water weight. It's going to help to occlude your pores and make you warmer, and you're going to sweat out more water weight. And you might get on a scale and you might have lost 2 or 3 pounds, but we all know you cannot lose body fat that quick. All you've done is lost some water weight, and as soon as you go back in, drink some more water, you're literally putting it right back in your body. So this is not a sweatband. This is to keep your abdominal wall, your core tighter, to push together the separation in your rectus abdominis. That's going to help you keep it tighter and have your abdominal wall look more flat. Because the only alternative to, if you're not going to do the work and you're not going to do the exercises to keep everything tight and right, the only alternative to getting your abdominal wall fixed is a tummy tuck. That's the only other thing that you can do. I've never had a tummy tuck. The only surgery I've ever had was my breast augmentation, and that was needed. I was a double D. I went down to a C when I started competing in bodybuilding, and I wanted my boobs back, and so I went to a D. I'm still not even a double D like I was before, okay? So I got my boobs done because I wanted to, and I just wanted my boobs back. And that's the only surgery I've had. And with your rectus abdominis, the only other thing other than trying to heal it through exercise and dieting is to have a tummy tuck. And who wants to have an invasive surgery like that? Nobody wants to go under a knife and do all that extra shit if you can get it done by keeping it tight, paying attention to your diet, and doing these exercises to support your abdominal wall. It's so much easier that way. It's a whole lot easier. And you can just do these exercises and wear the trainers, okay? So I just wanted to make this video tonight to let you know that I'm here for you. I support you. I understand what you're going through, especially as women who've had babies, which is a whole lot of us. And there are things that can be done to fix it, and it's not you. So there's so many women who complain like, oh my God, I have this lower belly fat. I've had it, I've had babies. My baby's, 5, 6, 10 years old, and I just can't get rid of it. It's not you. You may have a problem. You may have diastasis recti. You may have issues that is keeping you from getting to your goal. And it's a real fucking thing. I suffer from it. I'm sure many women in America or all over the world suffer from it, you know what I'm saying? And so don't be ashamed of it, and it's actually fixable, so you just gotta do what you gotta do. I know that in the past, not understanding or recognizing that I did have that problem until I went to my doctor and asked and had it tested. I was doing, crunches, I was doing all kind of abdominal exercises exacerbating the issue, and not understanding that I was making the issue worse. And when I got to the point where I understood what was going on with my body, now, like, you know, when I was really lean and stuff and competing, of course I didn't know. I had no idea because I was fucking 8% body fat and 4% body fat on stage. I had no fucking clue that anything was a problem until I stopped competing. And when I stopped competing, I started putting back on weight and everything like that. And I was like, yo, what is really going on? Like, why is this area so hard for me to control and you know, figure out? You know, I've never had a problem like this. But, you know, at that point, I was over 30 years old. My metabolism's slowing down, and I'm recognizing my body's changing. In my 20s, I was, you know, slim here, and everything was in the right places, slim here, thick here, I mean, there was no problems. I didn't really notice I had much of a problem, but then I exacerbated the issue by doing so many crunches and doing so much of this, and, you know, and just not knowing. So it's not a big deal. It's something we can take care of. It's something that you can fix. Do your breathing and abdominal core exercises. Do your Kegels. Do your leg lifts. Do all of those things, and we will get you right. The waist trainers will be available on the website probably tonight. And if you don't get mine, get one. Get some. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you, this is good for wearing around the house. In addition, because it doesn't compress your diaphragm. It's not one of those snap, zipper and all this other shit when you can't adjust and stuff like that. Those, you should not wear those ones in the gym. Anyways, those aren't made for the gym. Those are corsets. They're not made for the gym. So this right here is easy. So you're at the house. When I'm at the house, home girl, I'm telling you, like, oh, I'm all here. Oh, I'm coming across the country with this bitch. You know what I'm saying? I'm strap that shit in tight. You know what I'm saying? But when I'm at the gym and stuff, and I want to keep my raw nice and tight. You know what I'm saying? Keeping it tight, but I'm not suffocating my diaphragm so I can't fucking breathe when I'm working out. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. Anywho, I gotta go eat again for my, how many times have I eaten today? I think I'm on my 5th meal today. About to go eat my 5th meal of the day. Gotta keep it tight, keep it right, and anyways, I love you guys. Peace up, A-Town down. Peace up. Ow! Love you guys. Bye.